Well, that's pretty unique if I've ever seen it. All right, back at B&R's yard. They've got, always got some interesting stuff coming in, and they just picked this thing up, and we know nothing about it, but they said, do you think you can get it running? Let's see if we can get it running. First things first, it's old, but it probably still has its uses. It's been painted a bunch of times. So the stickers are off of it. Somebody took the stickers off. To me, first impressions is that some young kid, ambitious kid, bought this and started making money off of it. In his spare time, he thought that he would bling this thing out, put checker plating over everything, even though the tin itself wasn't even rotten. It's red underneath here, yellow, spray bombed. Decent job. It might get cut a little bit here and there, but like, that's not rotten. I don't know why he would do that, but anyway, there's some pieces missing. So when we look at the engine, no prop rod, but if you can see this, the injectors are missing, and the water pump system is taken apart. So the water pump and fan shroud, a bunch of stuff is taken off. It's got a brand new overflow tank on it, which is weird. Makes me think that they thought that this bottle was cracked, which is why it was leaking coolant, but they changed the tank and it probably still leaked coolant. Then they probably, maybe it wasn't running right, and I imagine that they pulled the injectors and ordered new injectors. The new injectors are in here, I'm told. Suspicions confirmed of a young kid owning this. Check out that checker plated boom box with the Clarion radio. I had that exact same one. Welcome to the 90s. Sweet. 10 millimeter. Fan belt, thermostat. Where's the injector? Oh, there's the injectors. There they are. They probably ordered the injectors because it wasn't running right, and then they pulled the injectors, and they probably found coolant in the engine itself. And that's probably why they decided to scrap it. That's my diagnosis just from a quick walk around. I think we're gonna try and throw those injectors in real quick. We'll crank it over. If there's coolant in the injector holes, then she's getting chopped up into tiny little bits. If there's no coolant, we'll put the injectors in, see if we can get it running, and then figure out what else is wrong. Hydraulic leaks, drive motors, all that fun stuff. Anyway, let's get at it. Here we go. Well, it's missing a key, but every key for John Deere and Hitachi is the same. That should work. The older keys had the Deere landing, the newer ones have them jumping. We figured, bet you didn't know that. You go to a John Deere dealership, buy a key for $3, and then start any piece of equipment that John Deere made, including $250,000 excavators, and then just go to a job site and have some fun. But don't tell anybody, because that's a secret. The newer ones are all locked out, but the old ones, $3. Okay, so what we have here is a brand new rad hose, because it still has a sticker on it. Doesn't look old at all. I think these injectors were probably refurbished because the paint on the nuts. I asked what the history was on this thing, and they have zero history. So I do know that we just came out with these lids not too long ago, within the last month or two. So this thing was running a month or two ago. What we got? We got a receipt here. Injectors, 520. Steel tube brush, which are these things to clean out the bore. Let's go take a look at the engine. I'm trying to figure out whether it's even worth trying to start this thing. Cylinder is not leaking. Neither is that one, because it's nice and dry, which is odd. That one's seeping a little bit, but that's not terrible. Two brand new hoses here. So that would do the bucket or the pole. The engine here, which is a little John Deere. I don't know what kind. The tag is on the side down below there. You see it? It's John Deere because they have these square filters. They did not put these away. These are the holders for the injectors. I only have 3 of them. The water pump is pulled ahead, and it hit the rad here a little bit. See that? I think the cores are okay. I think it just touched. The water pump feels okay. I don't feel any slop in there. And this gasket is okay enough to start, but the one back here is not. This gasket's pooched. So I can't start this thing because I am missing the holder. So do I order the gasket and a holder? The oil is way too full, which is odd. You can't see that, and there's the marks. It's up to about there, which is odd. Too much oil is common for an injector that's fired by oil pressure. Sometimes those leak, you get fuel in the oil. That's not the case with these ones. It's impossible. Little fixes. It's in the fuel tank, so they probably cut a hole in the fuel tank to clean that out. So there was a fuel issue at some point. I guess I could take one of these off of each one and hold an injector down just to see if it'll fire. Batteries are dead. Got some cobbled up shenanigans here for blow off. Why did they replace hoses? Why did they take the cooling apart? Why did they take the injectors apart and then decide to scrap it? Okay, it's probably pretty dark, but this camera's pretty cool. I think I see it. Aha! There's the holder, so I might have to grab a little dowel, but I think I can start it. Okay, back on track. We throw the injectors in, grab some batteries, crank her over, then we'll talk to the owners. Okay, I had these 2 nuts machined by the machine shop to a perfect fit. See that? Absolutely perfect. Surface grinder look a lot like a Milwaukee hand grinder. But anyway, we can put them in. I grabbed the brush. I don't really agree with this because all you're basically doing is taking everything and shoving it into the piston. But he bought them and it'd be rude not to use them. I mean, they're brand new. We're gonna make sure that we pop these caps off and put the injector in. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Okay, got some fresh batteries in there. Can't put any bigger batteries in there. It is a 24-volt system, so positive on that side, negative gets hooked up to that positive. This ground goes to this switch, which is your ground. One of these is on. I'm gonna say that's on, but there's also a master disconnect down there. See that? So that's isolating the positive side, because inside the cab, I've got nothing. But I also see one positive wire coming off of that, and that goes to this little guy right here. And I see that this fuse is like melted in there, and that's definitely blown. See that? Focus. Anyway, it's blown. I need vice grips to pull that out, put a new fuse in there, and see what happens. There you go. That's the one. Perfect. Broken one goes in there. This one goes here. Oh, look at that. That's disconnected. I remember that was connected to something too. Let's put that on the battery. Let's try it now. Ah, that's good. Well, they lied to me. They said that those batteries were good. All right, so the negative shutoff already broke, so I hooked it, that wire that went to the shutoff, it went straight to the battery. This bugger here, they make it a pain to put this plastic thing in between, so you can't take a screwdriver and jump it across. So what you need to do is take 2 sockets and go around the corner. What's the line? I just tighten that injector line. I don't know how to shut it off. How do you shut it off? Milwaukee. I got lots of fuel leaks. But that's because these stupid rubbers. I think that one was stripped, so it runs. We always gotta cheat with diesels. I don't know, I think I had a little bit of a knock there, but I think this one here is stripped. Right here. This one is stripped. And that's not why it was running like crap. This is why I hate these Deere setups, because it's just rubber O-rings. The O-rings always go bad. And then they leak. Return lines and injector lines should have copper washers. Then you know you got a good engine. That one is stripped. Look at that just coming out of there like there's no tomorrow. Alright, well, I will let them know that it runs. I think it has a little tick. We'll go from there. Alright, so back on our little John Deere. Pull the front of that water pump off. I think we have some gaskets. And we'll just grab that. So just grab that. Okay, so we got the wrong parts, but basically the machine is too old, and I did give the guys this number. See that? I don't know. Apparently it doesn't come up in the system anymore because it's too old. Even though I think the controls are still electronic. I can't see it being that old. But anyway, I gotta take the water pump off and send them the T-fitting, and then they can just match it up there. And then I won't leave without the right parts. So here we go. All right, we're back again. Sun's still shining and I'm still smiling. Got the right parts, most of them this time. I sent the water pump to the guy at Nortrax because he said the numbers are too old and they don't have it in the system anymore, which is not uncommon actually. I know companies like Volvo, after 10 years they stopped making parts for machinery like this. So same with the man lift. 10 years or older, it's not reliable enough, it's not safe enough, get rid of it, and they don't encourage guys like me or you to fix it. But I'm encouraging you to fix stuff like this because it still has some life in it. So what we had to do was give them the water pump, and then they matched up the gasket because the gasket was wrong. The parts guy sent me an exploded view and it looked correct. The gasket was just off slightly, so the gasket behind that plate was correct, and the thermostat was correct, but the water pump itself was not. So what I did was I sent them one of everything that I needed, and a lot of these little T-fittings were stripped. I don't know if you can see the threads. They're stripped. So I said, give me one of each of these in the bag and bring back everything that I sent you. But somebody did this to the bag. See that? And the guy that picked up the parts, I think he lost the dowels for underneath the injector hold down clamp. So he put this in the bag for me. So no better off than my nut that I ground, but we'll make it work. Whatever. Anyway, I did get some new tees, which is fantastic. So I got new tees, new furrows, we're good to go. Basically these ones were okay. We'll put the rest of the tees on, we'll put the water pump back together again, and then fire it up. Here we go. These things are fairly flexible, so there's really no right and wrong way to put them on. Just put them on, snug them up, don't over tighten them. If they leak, they'll leak. Then you tighten them a touch more. Not my favorite design because rubber goes hard and they leak. So the copper washers are a much better system, but this was the way it was. You guys have seen me use this stuff before, the spray gasket. It's just a nice little coating to put on top of your already gasket. It just seals up any imperfections. So, let that sit for a couple minutes and put it together. Here we go. Okay, we need the fan shroud. We need the finger guard, thermostat housing, fan belt. These injectors were bought October 22nd, 2018. So almost to the day a year ago. It's been sitting almost a year, just almost a year while they dragged it over here. They popped some hoses loose just to get the boom in. And yeah, I should fire right up. That diesel, although I might have to take out all that diesel and swap that over because, you know, it's been sitting for a year. New thermostat and gasket. I have to put it on this leg because I ripped the hole in that pant climbing up and down. That'd be embarrassing. I don't want the internet to see that. Now I can do this to my pants because they're old. These pants will be on eBay. Check the listing. I always start by adding just water to the radiator. That way if there's a leak or the drain is open, then we can find that out pretty easy. I mean, we could look to see if the drain is open, but that's a lot of extra work. Okay, it's all kind of back together again. We got everything buttoned up under there. Unfortunately, I do have one little coolant leak from the radiator, but what we're gonna do is drive it to the front there. If it'll start. See if it'll start. Bring it to the front and then get the hydraulic out, check all the levels, and somewhere where we're closer to tools. It has a nice little mist, and that's because the dowel is wrong or the holder's wrong. So I'm gonna leave it at that for now. I'll see what they want to do. Make sure that that rad isn't leaking. It does sound, when you rev it up, you get enough fuel in there. It is running on all four cylinders. I think it's got some wiring issues. The undercarriage is generally in pretty good shape. So you can see when you're looking at an excavator, you want to check and make sure that the teeth aren't super sharp, because this is where it'll wear. And then you want to make sure that this wheel isn't all the way forward, and it's got a ways to go yet before it's at its end, because as the chains wear, this wheel will come out. So there's a grease fitting, you pump it up, there's a cylinder in there, and it'll push this out so you get the right tension on the track. So this undercarriage is in decent shape. It's not leaking out of these cylinders. That one's seeping a little bit, but the top one and the bucket are actually in really good shape. So if they can get the leaks figured out on the engine and maybe hook up a mechanical oil gauge and a mechanical temperature gauge in there. Okay, so I did end up finding the right hold down clamps and bolt and dowel, but I didn't have my camera with me. I had the parts in the truck. I swung by, I threw them in. The issue with this place is I can never find decent batteries. It's cold. And the other really nice thing about this place is that they have their own mechanic. So it's nice working with B&R, because they call up and say, hey, we got something in the yard. You want to take a look at it, see if it's worth saving or not. We don't charge them much because we enjoy doing this, and you guys enjoy watching this, hopefully. It sucks for them to pay their mechanic to diagnose it without knowing any of the history on it, spend a day on it only to realize that the thing is a pile of garbage anyway, while there's other good stuff that needs to be fixed. This thing was right on the borderline. We knew definitely something was taken apart, but we don't know why. It probably has an overheating issue, might have a head gasket issue, and the injectors were out. So we got it running, put the cooling system back together again, and realized the hydraulics work, it moves. So from here, we're done. We're gonna let Randy take a look at it. He's gonna make it so it shuts off. He's gonna put the air system back on again and get it running the way it should, as an old tired machine that otherwise would have just got scrapped. This one's gonna go to the owner's cottage, I believe. It's gonna work a few hours on a Saturday, digging a little bit here, doing a little bit of that. It probably needs another hour of maintenance for every 3 hours that it has running, which is perfect because that's the amount of time it takes to cool down, because it probably has a cooling issue. Hopefully you guys enjoy watching these videos. We got lots more cool stuff coming up at the other scrapyard. We got lots of old cool cars and bulldozers and stuff we're gonna get running, but it's cold, so I'm gonna go inside because I'm kind of used to my heated floors now. So join our Facebook group. We've got a website coming out that we're pretty excited about, so stick around for that. And remember, if you're not filthy, then you're probably driving an EV car. So here we go.